I'll give it a couple more minutes.
I've got Anthony here too.
I'm
Oh,
here.
perfect. How's it going?
All right.
Any big plans for the weekend, anybody?
Hopefully relax.
Yep, that's my big plan too.
Yeah.
Have to go up, mow the lawn tomorrow, and get the place cleaned up a little bit for the weekend. Hopefully spend some time on the boats.
Nice. Hopefully the weather holds out.
Yeah, it's supposed to. They're saying after tonight it's going to clear out. And we're looking at a 7 to 10 day stretch of gorgeous weather.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is
good.
normal for September.
Just in time, yeah.
Well, like I've been telling people for years, we get 2 weeks of summer every July. This year we actually had more than 2.
I know this is gonna be my first winter. Well, besides one winter in Texas, but this will be my first one in like 10 years this far south, and I'm curious to see how different it's gonna be in Philadelphia compared to Maine. I imagine there's a lot less snow.
Just going to say, you probably won't need a shovel.
Yeah, yeah. How's it going, Donna? And I just wanted to thank everybody too for sending pictures. I've been getting a lot of pictures the last few weeks, which have been great. So I think I have, hold on, let me check to see how many data points I have now. So just for the algae blooms, I have 58 different sources of pictures from people. So I mean that's some great stuff. So
Is that all over the lake? Like, is it just in the north or south or all over, or do you know?
So yeah, I've been marking them out in the actual file when I save them out, and a lot of them are either on the east side or west side of the lake. Not much on the north or the south yet, but I'm hoping to get that information too. So, oh, I think you're muted, Georgia.
Sorry, offline conversation.
Oh, no worries.
Apologies.
You're allowed.
All right, I'll give it one more minute and then we'll get going.
It turned into a beautiful evening here. I know, Nick, you're not here, but
You didn't
compared
get
to
the
this
shower that
morning,
just came through?
we
We got a downpour in Wyndham about an hour ago.
oh, you're kidding. No, it's it I mean, you know, pouring all day, obviously, but it just turned into like this picture perfect evening.
Right.
Yeah, it hasn't rained in a few hours here. That's so
It
funny.
cleared off about 2 o'clock here, and we ended up going down to Walmart Lowe's, left all the windows open. About the time we got to Lowe's, the sky opened up. Didn't last very long, but it's just enough to get everything wet.
Well, count your blessings. You could be in Tampa
Yeah, ooh,
or
yeah.
Savannah.
That is true.
You haven't
Getting
gone down
floppy.
yet, Donna, have you?
I'm planning on going the 11th,
Okay, yeah.
and then I'll be gone for 8 months.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, it is 6:05, so I'll just jump right in. Just a couple of updates. So I reached out to JD on the Dam Commission, who's the secretary there. They haven't approved their meeting minutes yet for their August meeting, but when they do in October, he did say he would send them to me. So I will upload them into the Google Drive and make it accessible for everyone as well. I did send an email out to Eric about just offering any help with any grant assistance if they needed it. They were open to it, so they just said they're waiting for the grant to open to see what they need to do in November, and they would get back to me then. That is it for updates for now. But I don't know if all of you saw the email from Emma LaRusso from the Androscoggin Valley Soil and Water Conservation District. She sent that out to our group email chain. She is on our group email chain. She had spoken with us a couple weeks ago, I believe, just kind of like talking about the work that they do you know, in relation to how that could help the pond and things like that. She was going to dive deeper into some potential options for us. And she really sent us a great update on like on two types of grants offered through the state of Maine. The first one is the 604B grant funding, and the second one is the 319 grant funding. And I was talking to her a little bit offline about it, just to get a better understanding of it. And it seems like a pretty great option in ways. So just for a breakdown, the 604B is a grant that in order to qualify for it, your pond or body of water has to be on the state of Maine's NPS priority list, which our pond is. It's on there with like a list of 26 others, I believe. And you have to be a quasi-municipal organization to be able to apply. So that is, of course, is certainly a barrier for us in that way. But there is an option to partner with some quasi-municipal organization or municipal organization to be able to get access to that funding in that way.
Would the Dam Commission qualify for that?
I believe so. The Dam Commission would, and so would the Androscoggin Valley Soil and Water Conservation District. They would also qualify as well.
And that's what we used before. That's
yeah. Yeah, they do work like that all the time. And essentially what they would be is just like our partner in it. And they would then just receive the funds and distribute them to whatever portion we need. So the 604B is a very specific type of grant. Essentially, it's to conduct a watershed based plan. And essentially what that lays out is there's a lot of functions underneath of what creates it. But it's essentially just like it's funding to build a plan on how we think we should deal with the watershed and how to improve the watershed. That's what the funding's for. So it would potentially cover the costs of developing a plan and doing the outreach and conducting a watershed survey and to get something put together and in place that people agree on and people support. And then it would be reviewed by the state. And then if it's approved, we would then have access to apply for the 319 grant funding, which is grant funding that then funds the implementation of that plan that was created. Any questions so far? It took me a while to get it straight. I have some notes, but.
So you need the first one in order to get the second one.
Correct, yeah. And it's a lot more detail involved, and I just wanted to bring it up in this meeting just so people are aware. But it does seem like a pretty decent opportunity. To apply to the 60B grant, the first one that's used to create or gives us funding to create a plan, that opens in April. Hold on, let me pull up my notes real quick. It opens in April 2024 and then would be awarded by June 2024. And then the money is deposited by October 2024. And then essentially we have 2 years to complete the plan, to complete the watershed survey, conduct the data, talk to stakeholders and do engagement and outreach. And then in year 2, in 2026, we would then compile the data and create the watershed plan for submission to the state for September 2026. And then after that process is approved by the Maine Department of DEP, that opens us up for funding for the 319 grant, which is funding for the implementation of that plan.
Are there any numbers as to what a typical grant is or what the high level is?
Yeah, so she did say that typically, well, she had it here in her email.
I think they had to be matching.
Matching, I did not. Hold on.
I'm just trying to remember when I was actively involved in this.
I don't see any mention of matching in her email here, but we can get clarification on that too,
Yeah.
'cause that would of course be a thing. Oh, grants typically have a maxed out at 50 to 60K, and they typically award only 3 projects a year. So
the
that is
whole
definitely
state.
something in the whole state. So that is something to consider. I
50
think
or
fif-
60,000.
Yeah, I think 50 or 60K would be very reasonable to build a plan for sure. I think that that's a very doable thing from my understanding of what it would take to do it. Whether or not 50 or 60K is enough to really make a big difference in implementation of a plan, whether that be, a lum treatment of some kind or some other type of bigger thing to try to improve the pond, the health of the pond long term. I don't know. So that's of course something we would need to dive into too. But I think it's a great opportunity, and right now, essentially, we don't know if we can apply yet. A lot of the noise and generation that we've done just from conducting these weekly meetings and like doing the outreach and engagement work, presenting to the municipalities, like people in the state are talking, like they're having internal meetings of like Sabattus Pond itself. I've heard that from the people at the DEP that I've been talking to, and they're in the process now of reviewing how much data that they have, and if we would have enough to really be helpful to apply for this original 604B grant this coming April. But I just wanted to have like an open dialogue and conversation about it right now. And of course, anybody who watches this online after, please feel free to email and ask questions. You can even give me a call too. My phone number is always in our email exchanges. But I just wanted to let everybody know that like the email that Emma sent us is a pretty viable option to try to get things started. It would require us to partner with somebody, either a quasi-municipal group of some kind, but I definitely think that something more broader based that is representative of more than just one municipality is probably a good way to go. But of course, that's again like a choice that we have to talk about as well. So.
And did you say 2 or 3 a year were typically awarded?
That's what she said in her email. Yeah, up to 3 projects.
Nick, is there any way to find out how many applications on the average they receive?
I can certainly ask. Yeah.
It might also be interesting to have an example of some previous projects that were funded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thanks for offering to write that grant if you get the opportunity.
I mean, it would definitely be in conjunction with the Androscoggin or whoever with the quasi-municipal group, but I certainly wouldn't mind taking that on. I just would need to know a lot more about what is going on and what's required for it. How many?
I think the Dam Commission also is looking into hopefully getting some type of grant to help with the repair or replacement.
Yeah, and that's sorry if I didn't make that clear, Lou. That's what I was talking about with the me emailing Eric Gagnon on the Dam Commission, and I reached out and let him know I'm available to try to help write a grant if they do need any assistance with it. Yeah, but that I think they are pursuing that.
Yep.
Any other questions, thoughts, or concerns, anything like that?
Nick, I'm happy to help write the grant too. I am not a grant writer, but I quick studies, so happy to help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anybody who wants to be involved, of course, can. 100%. The more, the better, honestly. How's it going, Wayne?
Good, Nick. Sorry I was late.
Oh, no worries. We were just talking about the 319 and 604B grant update that Emma had sent to us in the email.
Yes.
Yeah. We were just talking over the specifics of that option. The 604B is essentially used to fund a process to create a plan over a 2-year period. And then the 3019 grant funding is used to actually implement that plan after it's been approved by the state. But we were just talking about just having an open conversation about it just in the beginning. But if you have any questions or any concerns, definitely let us know.
I gotta be honest with you, I really haven't had a chance to, I know you made a comment in there, I think about it, something about it isn't feasible to do. Is that the same thing you was talking about?
Yeah, but that was actually based on I was misunderstanding what she was saying. And I talked to her
okay.
a little bit more. Yes. Right now, essentially, what we're waiting for is some feedback from the state about how much data they have on Sabattus Pond, from my understanding, and what is going on, or if we would have enough ducks in a row, I guess, to be able to apply in April 2024 for that first part of that dam meeting. So, or not dam meeting, of that 604B grant funding. So,
Yeah.
Do you know if Bates College is sharing their findings from their research with the state?
I do not know. Yeah.
Maybe that's a question we can ask them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One of the things that I remember that got funding from the 319 grants, it was probably 10 years ago, was riprap.
Riprap.
Yeah. And that
Rocks.
it's amazing how expensive that is.
Yeah, I know.
Is that erosion work?
Erosion
Yes.
control, yeah. It's kind of like what, Georgia, what you saw on the road that where the clear cutting is. What
It's
you
like
know that-
6-inch rocks they use for drainage.
Yeah, I had to have my frontage here down on the inlet I live on because it was actually washing out underneath the land. And I had to go to the state to get permission, and Dave Cody's actually the one that put it in. So it was expensive.
Yeah. Do you remember how much it was for how many feet?
Let's see, it's about, let me just check with my wife. She's the one that has all that information for me. Hold on.
She's got it right here, huh?
Hey, Jeannie, you remember, they were asking
And-
the question.
And Donna, I think you are right. Like about 13 years ago, they did work. Some work around the pond was funded by a 319 grant, and like that eligibility is based on a watershed plan being there, and that is only good for 10 years. So ours is expired, is what they told me. So that's why we would
Okay.
need to re-go through that process.
Okay.
That was one of the things that was appealing when we bought our property, because the water frontage already had stones on it.
Mhm.
Nice.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite an ordeal to get that stuff. To get permission, that is.
Yeah, ours was done a long time ago, so we didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Now you
We
can't
went
even,
through that. We went through that with a family place down in New Hampshire 30 years ago. What a pain in the butt.
Mhm,
Another
But if you
thing
don't
that,
do it, you lose your land.
yeah,
exactly. There's somebody over on the Stamford Road that had that done, right? Right directly across from me.
Maybe that was what you were talking about that got awarded.
Yeah, that was what Dave Cody did that one, I believe, too.
I think
Donna?
another thing that we use the money for, or the Sabattus Pond Watershed people used it for, was training for
Mhm.
like how to manage a camp road.
55,000.
For the road associations, 55,000.
55,000 for the riprap?
No,
No.
5,600 with, oh no, $5,300 for the riprap,
And it was 5 loads
12
or 12
yards.
yards of 12-inch crushed riprap.
Yeah.
And 2 loads of 12 yards each of
6 inches.
G something riprap.
So a total of 24 loads. I mean, 2 loads. Oh, okay, what was 5 loads of 12 yards of 12-inch and 2 loads of 12 yards, 6-inch.
Oh, 6-inch, that's what
Riprap,
it is, yeah,
riprap.
not G,
And
yeah.
it cost us 5,300. How many feet would you say that was?
He doesn't say, no,
Mm,
it's
120 maybe, 120
no, it
feet?
wasn't that far. It went to theirs, but did it begin here?
Yeah, all the way to the front.
Oh, it could have been
The frontage of that.
100.
Yeah.
But some of it was pretty narrow.
Yeah.
Some of it was not big, tall
Mm.
spaces.
We didn't have to go all the way up the bank. It was just to keep it from climbing up and eroding anymore underneath the trees. Actually, is what was doing it.
Mhm.
Small price to pay to protect your land.
Oh, my God,
Yeah.
yes.
I know during my research, I very loosely priced out alum treatments, and I'm not suggesting or promoting it, but it was a little under $1 million for an alum treatment of for the size of Sabattus. So
Oh, my God.
yeah, and that's only a
Nope.
Band-Aid for about 10 years too. It's not like a complete fix. So
Now, what would it do to the fish population? Yeah.
I'm certainly no expert there. I know other ponds and bodies of water have used it, and
Yep.
it's a pretty common practice. Long term, I'm not entirely sure. I know that when I was doing the research back then, I know I read up and people still actively fished those ponds and stuff like that. It did, of course, very much help with the algae blooms, which was the primary target of the alum treatment. So
I wish they'd put some down here in my little inn.
that is pretty frequent, Wayne, huh? You're
Oh,
sending me pictures almost every day.
Well, it was. I was down fishing just about 4 o'clock, and just starting to skim over the top.
Mhm.
It's quite often, and you can ask Lou. It's quite often it happens in this little inlet.
Yeah, yeah. How's it going, Dan? Good to see you.
Good. How are you, Nick? Sorry
Good.
I'm late.
Oh, no worries. Any other questions or concerns about that before we move on to the little workshop? Dan, we were just talking about the 604B grant and the 319 grant processes that Emma had emailed to us. So
Okay. I'm familiar with the 319.
yeah, the 604B is used to fund the creation of a plan, and then that creation of a plan would then give us access to the 319 grant to implement the plan. So
I guess the only question I have, and I know I'm like a broken record,
no.
but we I'm not me, but they have data of
Mhm.
years and years and years. How much data do you need to move forward?
I'm not entirely sure what they were specifically talking about per se. I know that they're trying to compile a lot of the information that they've had historically over time. They did ask for the work that I had done, for however helpful that may be, and I don't foresee us, like being outright denied access. It might just be an additional year to like get some ducks in a row type of a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've collected data for 25 years.
Yeah.
That's what that's what I mean. How much more do you need? It's almost
Yeah.
like they want to spend the money for data collecting and not fix the problem.
There's
That's
still quite a
what I think.
What's
That's how
that,
the
sir?
story works. We research the
That's,
shit out of everything and never fix it.
Exactly.
That's what I've found. It was collect the data, but then what do we do with the data?
Yeah. You always should have a plan if you're ever going to do anything, you collect the data, and there has to be a game plan of what you're going to do when you receive the data. But anyway, it's just, I go on and on, but
Oh,
I used to travel.
I've been through 319 projects, and that was basically collecting data.
Yeah.
I think they did do some erosion control too, but
That we did.
yeah.
Dan, before you got here, I was reminding the group that one thing I remember was that we used 319 grants for riprap.
Yeah.
Or riprap for drip moldings, or drip edges. We did plantings on
Right.
some vacant land, but it was eroding, so we did plantings to stop that. So it was erosion control, but it was small.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to take. It's a lot of small projects that we identify.
Mhm. And there are certainly some data points too that still need to be collected. Like a lot of information isn't known about the dissolved oxygen content specifically in the pond, the tipping points to like transition state changes, like from eutrophic ponds, the dirty water to like hypoxic or anoxic in ways, things that are important, I guess, that would inform the not necessarily the severity of the options that we would have, but I guess a timeline of like how quickly we should be trying to implement these things in that way to avoid that type of incident. So
Yeah, I collected quite a bit of dissolved oxygen also.
Dan, I'd love to see it, man.
Get it out there, Dan.
Yeah,
Well, it's all of it should be in Pearl.
Pearl. That
Yeah.
I'm not.
State of Maine's the DEP's data. I'll check with my daughter if they still call it Pearl, but I used to turn all of my data collection
Mhm.
into the VLMP, which is now LSM.
Okay.
But they would turn it into the DEP, and all of that information is online at the DEP somewhere.
I mean, I've combed through those archives pretty heavily, Dan. I have not seen it specifically. I could have very well been in the wrong places, but I will take another look at and look up Pearl. Did you have any luck trying to find that data about the type of algae in the pond? You said that they had tested that almost every year or something last week.
Well, no, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm going to have to ask my daughter
Yeah, no worries.
because she has access to all of this more than I do.
I wish this stuff was just accessible to everybody.
It is. It's in his brain right now. Let's grab
Yeah,
it.
Well,
I
right
know.
now, here, let me, here's my file of, let me set this down here. Can you see this, Nick?
Looks like a big folder.
Clarity and DO.
That's excellent.
See. Well, it wasn't Pearl.
Is
there a way to clear it? 2008 to 2020. Go back to 21.
2008 to 2021. Is there like a summary sheet of that, or could you send me like a picture of that things, or is it not?
Uh,
Can we scan it somehow?
Yeah.
Be so helpful.
so, yeah, I'm going to try. I'm not what you call computer savvy.
How about mailing it? Could you mail it to me and I could scan it in digitally and send it back to you?
Well, what I'm going to try to do is scan it and send it to you.
Mhm.
But first, I'm going to ask my daughter if she can get a hold of all of this information.
Yeah, no, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, I guess. See, I think all the information out there is just in different pockets somewhere. Or somebody file.
Because this is the raw data. We got yearly reports from an aquatic biologist, Scott Williams. And I'd have to search for those, but that had all of the data that I collected, plus all of the data he collected, and he put out a report on them yearly.
I
Dan, did you say Scott Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, that's that guy that I was communicating with. He that's the guy you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay,
it.
all right. Yeah. I said a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago he's gonna be available to talk to us sometime after mid-September. So he's got all the data too.
Yeah, I worked with Scott for 25 plus years.
Oh, so he has all this data that you're talking about. He should, right?
It should, or it should be in Pearl.
Okay, all right. I'm happy to ask him if he's got it somewhere, if he knows how to find it electronically too.
Yeah, and like I said, I can. My daughter is in Portage. They're doing a lake survey on Portage Lake for aquatic invasive plants. So she's up in Portage today, but when she gets home, she gets home this weekend, I'll ask her about Pearl if she can tell me how to get there.
There's a big article about the invasive plant.
Yeah, I can definitely look at Pearl too and see if I can't come up with anything as well. And if that's the case, I'll email you, Dan, and let you know, so that way you don't have to go through that twice or something.
And what's Scott Williams' title?
he
Is he
may
an
have everything.
engineer? What is
What's
Scott
that?
Williams? What's Scott Williams' title? What's his specialty? What's he do?
He's an aquatic biologist,
Okay.
I believe.
Okay, thank you.
He was with that organization, Dan, you might remember the exact name, something about lakes or whatever. If you go to their website, he says he's the executive director, but he's gone from there now.
Right. He was with the VLMP, which changed to LSM, Lake Stewarts of Maine.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And it
So
was
he-
volunteer lake something? The volunteer?
VLMP was volunteer lake monitoring program, but LSM, it's the same program. It's the same. They just changed the name. Same board of directors.
And he's not there anymore, right? But he's doing
No.
something. I mean, because he said he's busy doing something with lakes around the state.
Yeah, he's a consultant.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for the shaky camera work. I'm on camera. I'm holding the phone up in the car.
Where are you traveling to and from?
Right now, we're sitting outside of the Chickadee waiting to go in for dinner. We're going to hop off in 2 minutes because we've got our son with us. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's completely fine.
The Chickadee.
All right. Any other last questions about that grant or any other things like that before we jump into some stakeholder stuff? All right.
this
okay.
might be a good time for us to hop off, and I apologize. We're going to watch the rest of the recording. Great to see everybody.
Of course. Have a great night.
Hey,
Enjoy the long weekend.
I want to go to Chickadees.
We'll save you a seat. Is that in Auburn?
It's
No,
in
it's in
Lewiston.
Lewiston.
Yeah.
Lewiston.
Oh, Lewiston. Are we in Lewiston? Yeah, Lewiston. Yep. All right. Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, it's right on Lisbon Street, right across from Fast Breaks. Is that right?
Well, kind of across from Fast Breaks, yes. It's on the corner of Lisbon Street and Westminster.
Haven't been there in some time, but great stuff. Great food.
Street from Channel 10,
Channel 10.
across Westminster Street from Channel 10.
Oh, right. Okay.
The Chickadee. I'll have to check it out.
entire warehouse is right across from the Chickadee on Lisbon Street.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen and we are gonna just dive into some stuff. Last week we talked about the, can you guys see my little white page here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me zoom in too, so.
Yeah, my eyesight won't pick it up, but I can see the screen.
Yeah, let me zoom in for us. Okay, so we talked last week about starting to fill out that stakeholder group matrix that I had shown, and we're gonna talk about community member groups this week. So essentially, all we're gonna do is kind of like what we did that first time, is just go through and just kind of think of like potential groups or individuals or people or even roads that we might want to specifically go around. We're not looking to fill out, every single person that lives there. And I included like just kind of like a general idea of like people who are very well known in the community, who are interested in this type of stuff, might be and who would be good additions to the group in that way or help network in that way. I also added like a question at the bottom just for context, and perhaps it might be easier to start with that. But more importantly, in what ways, what are some ways that we can begin to reach out to these groups or individuals? So like ideas or methods about doing that, because we have the community group category with the subcategories listed here: the waterfront landowners, seasonal landowners, all other watershed residents, and external watershed community residents, those who live within those 5 communities but aren't necessarily within the watershed, and how we would go about by reaching out to those groups to bring them in or to let that be known. So I just wanted to start off with one as a potential method for reaching out. We could do door-to-door, just talking to people, and have brochures or flyers.
Are you looking for feedback, Nick?
Yeah, oh yeah, input. Yeah, now is like the brainstorming session time. Yeah.
Well, under waterfront landowners, number 2, September 10th is my road meeting.
September 10th is number 2. Okay. Or is your road meeting? Yeah.
Yeah, under Wales waterfront landowners.
Morris Point.
I was thinking maybe printing out the Facebook page of this group and just passing it out to everybody at the meeting.
Do you want me to create? I can create a flyer and send it to if you want to print it out, or an informational thing. Would that be helpful?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Yeah.
Send it to me too, Nick, when you get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how about let's talk about what type of information we think should be on it. Is that okay?
Well,
Sure.
that logo, do you think you could put that logo on it? That's really pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. I can. Yeah. So, sorry, what was the date again, Donna, before we get into that?
Sunday the 10th. Does that match up?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can definitely do that.
Is the
Yeah.
10th a Sunday? I think that's
Let me check real quick.
I think that's what it is.
It is a Sunday, yes.
Okay, so yeah, it's Sunday at 11 o'clock on the 10th is our meeting.
Watch your body with the sun.
All right. Okay. So, what are we thinking we want? The logo for sure. What other types of information should be on there? What do you think your road association members would like to see on there, Donna?
Efforts to, I think that we got to say evaluate, but assess or whatever. I mean, they're going to want to see that efforts are being made to improve the quality of the water. That's what people care the most about.
So, I guess what steps we're taking right now, like what phase in progress we are, that type of thing.
Yeah, if you could do it without being too wordy.
Okay. Yeah.
Start with the Facebook page info and your email info, so people know where they can get the information from.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So,
Before we go on too much.
Go ahead.
Go.
So we've got a road association on our side of the lake that's got like 47 or 48 houses on it. We just had the flyers just came out for the annual dues and that type of thing. I was hoping maybe we could get something before that. I couldn't remember when the stuff came out, but I can talk, the guy that is more or less in charge of passing out the information lives right across the street, so I can talk to him about trying to get some information out.
Is that Barnard's Cove?
No, it's Sanborn, Sanborn Road.
Is that
On the east
green?
side.
Okay, that's on the Sabattus Wales.
That's on Sabattus.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
okay.
on Sabattus.
the other Sanborn Road's in green.
Yeah, this is
Right.
F Sanborn Road.
Yeah, just up the street from me. One of the other things, Nick, and I don't know if we can do it or not, is that
No D
flag.
in that, Nick, no D, SANB.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And before we jump ahead, Ken, what do you have the date for that of when you would need that flyer by?
Is whenever you can. He's already put out the flyers for the annual dues, annual update. It came out a couple weeks ago, so.
Okay.
When you get it ready, just forward it to me.
I was thinking just something fairly simple and maybe even a half a page that wouldn't just be like all the other paperwork that's going to get passed out at our meeting, but just something that maybe someone could stick on their refrigerator, or just something just a little bit
Yeah,
different than
we need to get the
normal.
information out to as many houses as possible.
So maybe the purpose of this little thing is just like our mission, maybe a little blurb about our update of where we are, what we're kind of doing, and maybe some information about when we usually hold weekly meetings and where to access the recordings and stuff like that. Does that sound reasonable?
Right.
It does.
Short and sweet, but
Yeah, it makes
definitely like
basically a mission statement.
I think
Yep.
people would like to see that all this work that we think is going to take 10 or 20 years happened yesterday, but I think that if
It's got to
I
start
know I
somewhere.
can, right, and I can say that as I introduce this information, that this is not a quick fix.
Mhm.
I think people need to know that, because otherwise they're gonna get exhausted and turn off.
Yeah.
2 meetings and then I say, oh, this is gonna take a lifetime, and so I think that needs to be clear right up front.
Okay. Yeah. Let me.
No, would this flyer also be something that, and I'm asked the question, when I go to the town hall in Green to register my car, there's a table there with a bunch of information on there. And I know it means printing a bunch of them up, but people could come in when they come in and pay their taxes or register their vehicle, they could take one of these things and.
Yeah,
That's a great point.
good idea.
Yeah, that
We've
is
got-
a great point.
We've got that in Wales too, where there's a table that they
Yeah.
give away stuff on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's one in Sabattus too.
and if anybody's going to that Green Village Fair on Saturday.
That's
the
another
9th,
that's another perfect opportunity.
Yeah, you'd have to coordinate it with some other group that's bought a table, but
Um,
Because the town halls may even print off the copies for us and put them on the table, you know what I mean?
yeah,
we-
I mean, that's certainly a possibility. Yeah.
We are taxpayers, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I'm just
Hey,
gonna see-
Nick?
Yeah.
I was just coming through this. I've got info on Clarity back to 94.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, that's important stuff. I would love to see it. I can map it, create charts, really help visualize the data.
So are we clearer or worse in these last 20 years?
It's cyclical. It's gone up and down and up.
Okay.
It just it's dependent on a lot of factors.
Right.
But I'm gonna zero it all down to weather.
Mhm. Rain,
Rain, no rain, water level is important.
Water temperature, I would think.
Water temperature, but with water temperature, the water level actually keeps the water, higher water level keeps the water cooler.
Yes.
Yeah. But it's cyclical, depends on the year, depends on if we have a heavy runoff with heavy rain before the foliage comes in, early spring,
Mhm.
that carries a lot of nutrients into the lake. That would give us a bad year. We got to the point of judging by our April rains what our clarity was going to be later in the year.
Wow.
Dan, that is some excellent information.
That is great. But it's also distressing because how are we gonna affect the weather?
You know,
Good luck.
you're
Person
not
I
going to affect the weather.
That our conversation last week, I know it was a little bit off topic, about, how there are many things at higher scales that are very much outside of our control, like climate change for one, and the amount
Yeah.
of fossil fuels used and things like that. Like those are all factors, but I think it's important to at least identify what we can control and then
Yeah.
try to influence those things to the
Yeah.
best of our ability. And that's all
Exactly.
we can do. So, but no, this is great, Dan.
The big thing for us to work on is controlling the runoff.
Mhm.
You're not going to stop it,
Right,
but filtering it is helpful.
Maybe some,
riprap.
yeah.
They throw. I know of places that throw hay bales of hay into streams, allow the water to go through, but the bales filter it. And then you pull the bales out, and because of all of the silt that is caught in the bales, all of that silt did not make it to the lake.
That is interesting. Those things must weigh a
Yeah.
ton afterwards.
That works on smaller streams.
Yeah,
Doesn't work on rivers but it does work on streams. Look, there's a lot. I've been at this for a while, Nick.
I believe it, Dan. Like I said, I want to see that book. I really do. If you're able to get it scanned.
Another thing that just came to mind is possibly trying to identify runoff areas that could be controlled,
Yeah.
so the water doesn't get into the lake.
Yeah, there's two streams that go under a railroad culvert up in Wales at my brother's. It's on my brother's property, and
Right.
I've told them to dam it.
damn it.
Dam it, and allow all of that silt to stop. The dam stops a lot of the silt, and then you pull it out and dig out all the silt and get it out of the watershed or get it out of there, and then put the dam back up. You basically dam it up. This year you'd have to dam it up all year because it rains so much.
Mhm.
But it
Go
would
south.
help.
Go south on your map, Nick, to where he is. So he's right there. See where the horse farm is? Right, the horse farm?
Yep.
Okay, the Goretz Brothers place is
Up.
right, Knowlton Drive, right at the bottom of
Knowlton
Knowlton
Drive.
Drive. So there's a
No.
stream that goes across there, Dan?
Yeah, if you go to Knowlton Drive,
Yeah.
past the house, down in here, where the hell are you?
Well, he must be that big house.
I
Wait.
think it's that house that the cursor is right on. Yeah,
Yeah, that would be your brother's house.
no, that's JD's house. My brother's is back. Okay, back this way,
Down.
down, yeah. No, that's, where the hell
No,
is
no,
his
no,
house?
no. Yeah,
No, keep going.
He's right between the end of Davis Road and the bottom of Knowlton Drive. Right in there is where your brother
See
is.
that house? There's Knowlton Drive, one Knowlton Drive. Okay, all of this is from Knowlton Drive to Knowlton Drive. That's Joe's land.
Mhm.
See this row of trees coming from 132?
Yep.
There's a little stream that goes in there, and it continues. If you scroll down just a little bit. No, go down. Up. Sorry.
That's
Little
okay.
north.
Okay, right there.
Stop, no, little
See
south.
this tree? These two fields Joe owns. And there's
Oh.
two streams that come in here.
Okay,
And Joe's house is this house right here at the top, at the top of the screen, right there where your cursor is.
Mhm.
That's my brother's house.
yeah,
Okay.
Just beyond that, up a little bit. Okay, there's this. See the driveway coming in.
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay. Just up here is where the streams come in. There's two streams that come in and they join back here. Oh, hell, I'm not sure, but I think you got his garage on here. So this is a fairly new picture.
It says, yeah, 2023. So,
Yeah. Okay, so I can see his garage.
yeah.
So it's slightly above his garage. You can, I know where it is,
Yeah,
but I don't see it.
yeah,
But there's a railroad bed that comes through here,
yeah.
and it's a railroad culvert. I can walk through the culvert
Oh, wow.
Wow, it's
to the
big.
lake. Oh, it's all granite.
Wow.
That
Oh,
culvert's
a
been there
granite
since
culvert.
since the 1800s. And I have told him, and he has done it slightly in the past. He's put a couple 2x10s, 2x12s, and at the end of a season, a spring, he'd pull them out, and there was 18 inches of silt behind that. So
Wow.
if you pick places like this,
Yeah,
and
Where-
right
Where it happens
Now-
very heavily. Yeah.
yeah, and at his, it's ideal because again, the culvert, the railroad culvert, I can walk through. It is 6 feet tall and I don't know, 3 feet wide. But there are other culverts on the lake.
Mhm.
And if we could make sedimentation pools out of them. Problem with a sedimentation pool is you got to clean them out yearly.
Nick, can you go a little bit south?
Yep.
Okay, it's because there's a stream. Sorry, stop there. There's a stream.
Right down
There's-
here.
Okay, there's a stream. Can you? I don't know. You can't really see the streams. No,
Yeah,
go.
but you
go a
can see
little
it if you know
east.
where it is.
No, go east. Okay, right there.
Probably.
No, all right, no, sorry, go back west a little, because there's a
Well,
stream that goes,
right there.
okay, right there, see that stream, you got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we could, the picture that I sent you most recently, Nick, was
Oh,
right
is that from
there,
there?
right
Okay.
there, exactly, that's where that picture was taken.
Yeah, well, that spot there is actually the delta that stream creates.
This little guy right here. Yeah. Okay.
But so possibly there's some way to filter the water that comes down, because it's high level, it's high over to the east. And then it all goes out into here, but there's beaver dams that are in there.
There
Mhm.
are.
Yeah, there are.
Oh, you did?
But my
yes.
organization,
We're on Facebook, or somebody posted on Facebook 4 hours ago, and that something about, she did talk to you earlier this morning.
I
Um,
think, oh yeah, go for it, Donna. Sorry.
so I don't know if it's good or bad, but I know that my road association hires a guy to go beaver hunting in there to get beaver pelts, I guess, because
Really?
the dams screw up the water
Mhm.
flow going down through that area, which we call the bridge.
And from my understanding too, that's what the 604B grant is going to be doing essentially. Like we're conducting, it's going to be like the conduction of a watershed survey and like identifying these points
Mhm.
that can be done. And like that's the funding that it would help do, which is great in that aspect.
I
Well,
did,
these
I did,
these
I did
aerial
3 of
views
those.
are fabulous. I mean, it makes it so much more interesting than just talking.
Oh yeah. No, this is your Google Maps. I just pulled it
I
up.
love
and-
it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Nick.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick,
Yeah.
I've done 3 of those watershed surveys,
Mhm.
or I've been involved in 3 of them.
Yeah, I think the most recent one that where those projects finished, I think the last one finished in like 2012. That's primarily what they did was identify some erosion points, heavy erosion points around the pond, and then fix those with like some erosion control stuff. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I always thought those were all 319.
they were. Yeah,
Okay.
but that was to implement the plan what they identified from my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, anytime you guys start talking about specific locations, just if I don't pull up the map, just remind me and I can do that too, because I imagine that makes it helpful.
Oh, I love the visual.
I know, it's I think it's a
All right.
healthier.
So that is about all the time we have for today, but I will get started and so next week, let's see, what is that? September 9th. Okay, so
All the time,
by next week at next meeting we'll still dive into this stuff. I will draft up a little like half sheet paper thing that we had talked about with the information that we had talked about here, just the inclusion of this stuff, and we can talk about it then and make any changes if necessary before your road association meeting, Donna, on the 10th. So I think that's a great idea to get that out. And like Wayne said too, if it works well, we can also drop some off at each of the town hall communities too. So I think that's a great idea. And Ken, I'll make sure to send it to you as well
Okay.
for your upcoming road association meeting. But does anybody have any final thoughts on this? Anything they want to include that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
I want to buy your house.
This one again, Nick, thank you.
House in Florida.
You're very organized and focused, and I love it.
Unless you're
That's
private.
I mean it honestly it takes a huge team, and you guys have been very dedicated too. So
I think that's why he gets all those scam calls.
All right.
all right, awesome.
All right.
So
I'll send-
I'm gonna get a hold of my daughter and try to get all of this information to you, Nick.
Yeah, that would be huge, Dan. I'd love to read through it. If you run into any trouble with getting it scanned, I have a couple friends that I know have scanners there, and if I can coordinate a drop off with my brother to give it to them and then give it back to you, I can do that too. So
Well, I've got a scanner. I'm sitting in front of my scanner, but
So do I, but I don't know how to use it.
yeah, exactly.
that's okay.
I know how to use it, but then it sends it to my computer and I can't find it.
I just been fighting through it. My phone was hacked.
Oh,
And-
boy.
I'm one of those. My wife's was hacked a few months ago. They actually get into her bank accounts.
Ooh,
Wow.
Oh yeah, big time, and tried to make charges on their credit cards, and it was tough. And I just got hacked, so my son was on the phone with me. That's why I was late coming to the call. But so I've been dealing with that. So
I'm sorry. That's horrible.
well,
when that happens.
when you have limited knowledge, me personally as a 71-year-old man, limited knowledge of this technical world. When something like that happens, you just panic because you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
That's why we have young children that can help.
That's what
exactly.
we've got, like Nick graduating with a master's in some kind of environmental work yeah, you're gonna keep us on our toes, Nick.
Oh,
I,
my-
uh,
Appreciate
my
that.
my family used to loaned me out to my older relatives to help set up VCRs and DVD players and TVs when I was a kid. I was always very good at tech stuff. So
Here's a funny story, Nick. My wife and I have bought down in Florida, in our Florida home. We actually have bought 3 DVD players, and we brought them home. It's just plug it in here and plug it in there, and it works. It
don't work that way.
It does not work that way. And I'm sweating, and my wife is angry at me for sweating. Oh my God! So anyway,
well,
that's what you have kids for.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I have a son he's a VP of a company, and he's very knowledgeable in that whole computer stuff. And he just spent the last hour with me. So
yeah,
God.
Very good.
well, I hope it
Nick,
works
don't you
out.
have a father that weighs in on things on the website? Is that a father? Does
Yeah.
it, is that your dad?
His name is
Is
Robert
that-
Gaten. He was
your
in the
father or
meeting a
your
couple of
brother
months
that
ago.
weighs in?
I think it's my dad. He might have said something. I know he's on the email list. And I think he was at a meeting 2 weeks ago with us, our first stakeholder.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he watches the videos. He's on the school board in Sabattus, so they usually have their meetings on Wednesdays too. So he's unfortunately not usually able to make it. But yeah.
So that's your dad, and his name is Robert?
Yeah, Robert
Okay,
Gaten
all right.
Jr. And then I also have I have a brother who's Robert Gaten too. So
Hey.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay, then I'm off.
Yep. Thanks everybody. Appreciate it.
Good luck,
Thanks,
Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Guys have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.